I don't really like being back to back to back on meetings all day, but I always have a boundary. Hey, just FYI, I have to be off at noon because I have another call. Hey, FYI, I have to be off at 1 because I have another call. Right off the bat, I'm setting my boundary. But a boundary with a reason will always do better than a boundary without one.
I do like Thanksgiving out of all the holidays because it's gratitude and it's quality time and it's food, and I adore those things, particularly food and gratitude. But here's my point. Holidays force you into these aqueducts of expectation, and you're expected to be at this place at this time, and you're expected to be this way.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our previous episode, yesterday's episode. It was episode number 1517. It's called Practicing Gratitude for a Reason. Today, for episode number 1518, happy Sunday. Start planning your holiday boundaries now. I was talking to one of our clients on a previous call last week, and she is a licensed marriage and family therapist, but she is a leadership coach. So she goes into organizations and works with abrasive leaders. And she said, hey, the holidays are coming up. Can we do some content around what that's going to be like for my audience? And I said, yeah.
Abrasive leaders?
Abrasive leaders.
Learning how to do empathy and all that kind of thing?
Yeah. Just her thing is your leadership style comes from your childhood, oftentimes.
Nice.
And she
That's
connects. Awesome. Yeah, she's the sweetest. Shout out to, I don't think Bonnie's listening, but if Bonnie, if you're listening, you're the sweetest. And I love you.
That's so powerful. It's a really cool way to frame leadership.
Yes.
I agree.
It's amazing. But her audience tends to deal with family issues, especially around the holidays. So her other thing is, how did my family, that kind of her tagline is, how did my family get in the office? AKA the way I was raised, my family life, that has translated to my leadership style. So when her and I were working on content together, I was thinking, I think this would be a really valuable topic for NLU and the community as well, because I think one of the reasons holidays are so stressful is because people are popping back into your life with different expectations than they have for the rest of the year. So even me, I actually messaged you this. I don't know if you got it yet, but I already made sure everything was canceled from Thanksgiving. I'm not going to work on Thanksgiving. I'm not doing calls and stuff. I love Thanksgiving. I want to go eat, and I want to be merry, and I want to relax. Christmas is on a Monday. You and I usually do our recordings on a Monday, so we're probably going to have to figure that out. Mm-hmm. The holiday season, and again, wherever you are in the world, I am not cultured enough to know all of the holidays and all of the celebrations and all of the practices, so I apologize if I'm not touching on your holidays or celebrations. But it's almost like an extra level of guilt is able to be pulled. Well, it's Thanksgiving. What do you mean? You don't have to work on Thanksgiving, or it's Christmas, or it's Hanukkah, or whatever it may be. Nobody else is working. You're only going to get to see your cousins this one time, or your aunt and uncle are flying in from California. You don't really get to see them. So I thought having an open conversation around this would be valuable, hopefully with some takeaways of what you can do. Now, transparently, this isn't really something I struggle with. The way I was raised, I kind of got to do what I want, and I'm very grateful for that. I was never really guilted, so maybe I can bring a different perspective than Alan, but my goal is to give some tangible tactics by the end of this episode.
I had a breakthrough while you were talking, which was when expectations are the highest, that's when boundaries are the most needed.
100%.
So whenever expectations are the highest, that's when boundaries are the hardest but the most needed. Put that on a
Post-it note.
A pamphlet and send it off.
Send it off to the world.
To the world. If you could put one thing on a billboard for the world to see, what would it be? That might be one of them.
Okay.
It wouldn't. It would be math is the way. I'm kidding. All right. So I struggle with this tremendously. I told Kev that he's like, I didn't really want to do this episode. And he's like, well, why? I think it'll be valuable for the audience. I said, I know. I just am insecure about it. I don't want to talk about it. But I did say that I would probably not add a lot of value. I'm not exactly an expert in this. Emilia has been leading the charge in this. I have a word at the top of my whiteboard in my office. It's right over here. It says proactive. She has something she calls proactive family leadership, which is essentially just planning ahead. Okay, we are doing Thanksgiving here. I'll give an example. And she's always the one, we're on walks. We do walks every other day. And she'll always say, okay, what do we want to do for Thanksgiving? And my head goes, I have no idea. I haven't thought about that a single time, right? I don't want to do anything on Thanksgiving, basically. And I'm a little weird in that personally. I'm not a huge fan of, I do like Thanksgiving out of all the holidays because it's gratitude and it's quality time and it's food, and I adore those things, particularly food and gratitude. But here's my point. Holidays force you into these aqueducts of expectation, and you're expected to be at this place at this time, and you're expected to be this way. And for us NLU weirdos globally, we like to be ourselves, and we don't like to be put into boxes and labeled and told what to do. And many of us struggle with what's called an obliger, and we will often do for others what we won't do for ourselves, so we struggle with this guilt trips and the shame and all this stuff. And so what Emilia and I have been doing is being proactive of, okay, so my family asked us if we want to go down to South Carolina for this event. Do you want to do that? And it's a simple conversation between her and I first, versus what we used to do, which is we would wait for Thanksgiving, they would bring it up, and we wouldn't have an answer. And we wouldn't come with a united front. So we were dispersed. So I'd agree to something out of just wanting to appease and get love, and she'd be like, wait, you agreed to that? And I'd be like, I'm sorry. It's like when we rent a car with Kev. Do you need the insurance XYZ for the extra? He's like, yeah, need it. I'm like,
now
dude,
I know though. Now I know you don't.
now Kevin
You can't
knows.
get me anymore.
Yeah, just sign me up. Whatever it is, I'll deal with it later, You get a $500 bill because coconut fell on your windshield. Anyways, so I now with Emilia, thanks to Emilia, this is not me, we are proactive and having these conversations way in advance so that when these things come up, we already have a plan. We already have a game plan. We already have our own strategy. And I think that that's pretty much as much value as I can add, which is just be more proactive prior to whatever holiday it is. Have a conversation with your intimate partner. Have a conversation after you have there's got to be like a line of command, for lack of better phrasing. So once Emilia and I are on the same page, then we get my mom on the same page, then we get her family on the same page, then we can all have a wonderful experience together rather than everyone last minute figure it all out and try to shuffle it all together, and then someone's going to take the L when it comes to their priorities, like fitness. So we're doing a turkey trot. So we're hosting Thanksgiving here, and we have a whole itinerary. Again, thanks to Emilia. This is not my strong suit. And we have a whole thing planned out. And one of them is going to be I'm really excited for this. We have a gratitude journal that we bought when we first got together. And our idea was every Thanksgiving, we would have this journal out. It's this beautiful, it was like expensive. I think it's like a $60 journal or something. But it would be out on the counter so that everyone can go every Thanksgiving and write down what they're grateful for. And so we would have a whole book eventually of all of our family's gratitude and everything all of us are grateful for on Thanksgiving. And it would be a new tradition. And so we have that. And then we're doing a turkey trot, which is just a walk. It's like a hike. I think we have some other stuff planned. We're going to get it catered. But at the end of the day, the only value I have is proactivity and planning and getting on the same page with the right people in advance so that when it comes time to set a boundary, you're ready.
I would second that. That was really my big thought for this episode. This is what works really well for me. Plan something. It's almost like you go in and say, all right, cool. What time do we want to be there until? Well, we're gonna get there at 10. I think we're probably gonna eat around 1. I want to be out of there at 3. It's like, all right, cool. We're gonna plan something for 4. So you and I have to leave at 3 if we want to get to our 4 o'clock thing. Now, again, this is where
Dinner with me.
Can't miss that again. This is where white lie Kev might knock on the door and say, hey, I have an idea for you. It's up to you as long as it's morally and ethically aligned for you. Sometimes you just got to make shit up. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that if it keeps you sane and it helps you set boundaries. Because
if it's the training wheels in the right direction.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just because I think of it this way. I don't really like being back to back to back on meetings all day, but I always have a boundary. Hey, just FYI, I have to be off at noon because I have another call. Hey, FYI, I have to be off at 1 because I have another call. Right off the bat, I'm setting my boundary. But a boundary with a reason will always do better than a boundary without one.
It's fire.
So that is my, if I could add any value, that would be my heavy next level nugget for this episode.
Kev, you got to tell the copy machine thing that you told in the meetup.
I don't know. I'm not good with studies and or examples. There's a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini.
Nice.
Not bad, right? And I have it over here somewhere. I'm not going to do what Alan does and show it to the camera. That ain't me. And I don't know, you could probably give the numbers and the stats better, but there were 2 examples. One, somebody walks up to a copy machine. You can tell I don't do this very often.
This is so fun for me.
They said, hey, can I cut you and make a copy? That was person 1. Person 2 walked up and said, hey, can I cut you? I need to make a copy. That was their point, I believe, was I need to make a copy. That was it. Then they tested it again with, hey, can I cut you? I'm in a rush and I need to make a copy. And I believe every single one of those that had kind of an extra point or an extra reason increased the percentage of people allowing them to get cut in line. Again, don't write an article on it because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it's in a book and it is factual from my understanding.
Hello, my name is Eddie Pinero. I'm the founder of Your World Within, and I wanted to take a second and just express how valuable working with Alan has been. His ability to help me create clarity and maintain focus on my big picture goals has been huge. You know, he's been a huge asset with the roadmap as well. The day-to-day things, the little things that we sometimes overlook. I think anyone looking to, grow themselves, grow a business or both, would truly benefit from having Alan as an ally along the way. Again, great mind, but more importantly, solid dude.
Yeah, the study is awesome, and it's essentially when you give a good reason that other people can rationalize in their own head as to why you need to cut them or why you need to comply with something, they're more likely to do it. AKA, to bring it back to Kevin's original point, hey, I have to be off by noon, I have another meeting. Him saying I have another meeting is you're going to get more buy-in from other people.
Yeah, it's extra.
It's going to be easier to, it's extra necessity to set a boundary. You got to have a reason. This kind of sucks, but you know how you said at the beginning, it's like, oh, but it's Christmas. That guilt that you're expecting. I remember it was the 4th of July. I'll never forget this. And I do like to track habits and work pretty much every single day. And that is who I am. I'm starting to own that more. I never used to. But I told Emilia, I really do think I want to work pretty much every day for the rest of my life. I know most people don't. I love what I do. I want to get better every day. This is who I am. It's kind of who I've always been. Now I'm just a little more honest about it with everybody. And I'm trying to continue down that path, being more authentic. So it was 4th of July, and I was like, I gotta go. And I didn't plan at all for this. I didn't tell anybody. I should have. I sucked at this. Okay? Seriously. I will tell you authentically when I'm good at stuff. I will tell you authentically when I'm not. I am so bad at this, it's not even funny. So I was like, right in the middle of the day, it's like 3:00 on the 4th of July. I was like, gotta go. And Emilia's dad was, what do you mean? It's 4th of July. And I had nothing.
Yeah.
I was just like, business, you're a business owner too, you know. And he was like, all right, man, and we left. But I was so embarrassed because I don't have a good reason other than I want to go grind, son. Joking, but not joking. So, I got a lift. Like, that's not a rational reason for him.
Yeah.
And because, again, this is a misunderstanding. He sees family. He sees quality time. We're at the lake. It's amazing. We have a blast. Why would you want to leave? So it's not like he's attacking me. It's much more just an honest conversation of why wouldn't you want to stay? And underneath this is I want to spend time with you. I care about you. I want to spend time with you. So it's not all malicious. It's really actually quite wonderful. But I think that we butt heads with people when we don't prepare ourselves for these moments. where I should have told them I'm going to be leaving at 3:00 on 4th of July. And it was one of those days where I think 4th of July was on a Monday or something.
Mm.
So, yeah, it was the 4th of July, but I think you and I probably recorded or something. Maybe not on the 4th,
I
but
don't know. I think 4th of July was a Sunday.
okay.
I think.
Okay, but I knew we cranked on Monday though. I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
think
sure.
you were away, and you knew you had to get home if you were going to do the stuff you needed to do to actually have the week.
Right, because usually on Sundays I prepare the next week and the week goes off the rails if I don't. So, but again, not everyone's going to understand that. They don't know how dialed in you are or aren't. They don't know your goals. They want to support you, but they don't know how. So you have to communicate these things in advance, proactively, and you have to give reasons that the other person will understand. And I am trying to get to a place where I never, ever lie to myself or anyone else ever again. And I've been working on this for years to the point where we got a bad review because of it. That's on me. My bad. But at the end of the day, I do want to get to a place where I never, ever, ever lie to anyone about anything ever again. I think that's a really good thing. And in the future, I'll just have reasons. I'll say, well, my week typically goes off the rails if I don't get some back office time. I know you're a business owner too, so you understand, 20-person team. You can articulate it in a way that they'll get it. I think that's my ultimate point.
Yeah, and this is my thought. Holidays are probably like a level 10 reason not to work. Holidays are a level 10 reason not to be in alignment for many of us and the expectations on us. You have to figure out what is a level 10 reason that you can help someone understand why you want to do what you want to do. Because in an ideal world, someone would just say, well, yeah, you do you. It's all good. No, you want to leave at 3? Cool. And I'm not saying anybody's wrong for not saying that. But I understand, okay, so this is my thought. If you had a wedding to go to, people would understand. 100%. If you had a funeral to go to, people would understand. 100%. If you were doing a bodybuilding show, people would understand why you had to go to the gym. If you were about to lose your business, if you didn't get a certain amount of stuff done in a certain amount of time, people would understand.
AKA always.
Always. It is that. I think it's that balance, that juggling act of, yes, Christmas, let's just say holiday, insert holiday, family get-together, celebration time is a 10 out of 10 for the majority of us. It doesn't mean that the rest of my life isn't a 10 out of 10 for me. So going in with that understanding, I think, is valuable.
Kev, you have a good example of setting a boundary. Can you give the listeners, you went to a wedding and brought your meals, your prepped meals? I can't talk today.
Yeah, that was brutal. That's probably not as relatable. Okay, this is one I did. It was, who was it? Taryn's brother's birthday. This was like 8 months ago. This was during the summer. Not 8 months ago. It's like during the summer. And she said, hey, I'd really love if you'd come to the birthday party. And I was like, yeah, for sure. I will definitely come, 100%. I'm all in. I want to celebrate your brother. Let's do it. I scheduled a hang with Matt after that. Now, that was kind of already on the books. But when I went, I told everybody, and Taryn already knew, but I said, hey, just an FYI, I got to bounce out of here at 2 because I'm supposed to be at my buddy's house at 3. That's how I went in with that understanding. And
Isn't it so hard? Isn't it so hard when you have such high standards for being on time and other people don't?
It's definitely challenging. But here's the thing. And this is where White Lie Kev comes in.
Because in their head, they're like, who cares if you show up at 3:30? Who cares if you show up at 4?
The thing is, I don't really care either. But I do need you to know that I already have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
I didn't leave exactly on the time that I wanted to. Because I think we were playing bag toss or something. And Tara and I made an epic comeback. We were down like 17-0, and we came back and won. And everybody was like,
Yeah.
you got to play another game. You got to play another game. And I was like, yeah, all right, one more. Line them up.
Nice.
Line them up. We'll play
Line
one more.
yeah,
Line them up. And then after that, I think we won again. And then
Kevin's never late except
when
for
I'm winning
bag toss.
when I'm winning at lawn games. So that would be the value that I think you can take, the action, the tactic from this episode is try to plan something else so you actually have a reason. In an ideal world, your boundary would be good enough. The boundary of saying, well, honestly, I just want to go. I don't want to be out super late. I just want to go home and relax after a big meal. I'm going to leave at 3. Yes, in an ideal world, you'd be surrounded by people that would fly with. Alan and I have that type of relationship. Whatever, dude. You go do whatever you want. I don't care. You can leave whenever you want. You can come whenever you want. Whatever. It doesn't matter. If you can create a reason that resonates with other people, I think you'll be more successful because you'll probably get less pushback. That would be my next level nugget.
My next level nugget would be find an accountability partner. Emilia went to South Carolina. I tell the story. I went off the rails watching too much Friends. Friends, I had to quit. I'm obsessed with the show. I always have been, and I had to quit. It's like, well, Friends is amazing. I said, I know. That's why I had to quit. If it wasn't amazing, I wouldn't have to quit. But anyways, so when she was away, I had less boundaries. Her and I have rails that we stay on. We put the fur babies to bed at 10, and then we spend quality time, but we're in bed no matter what, asleep by 11. And when I was alone, I just went right off the rails. 1, 2 a.m., just not good. So find an accountability partner. It is so important. We do weight training every other day, and we do walks every other day. There's no way we could have done this without each other. I mean, we're coming up on 700 days. I misspoke. I think we're on 610 or something. But the point is her and I have acknowledged we've always wanted to do this. We've never been able to. The longest I did without Emilia was 3.5 months. And now I'm coming up on the 2-year mark in a couple hundred days. I don't know the exact amount, but we're going to hit the 2-year mark, and it's only going to be because I had an accountability partner. The right accountability partner will change your life. Kevin and I, 1,500 episodes would never have happened if it was just us. We're accountable to each other, and we're accountable to the listeners. So make sure you're using accountability partners.
Speaking of accountability partners and community, something I've been talking about a lot on other podcasts. If you have not yet joined our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, please do so. A really good place where you don't have to have white lies for your boundaries. That is all I will say. And again, I try to be the most honest version of myself. I really do. That's what I aspire to. But I also understand sometimes you need training wheels to get out of situations that do not serve you. So I will always be open and honest when it comes to white lies on this podcast.
It's so interesting. You're being honest about not being honest. What a duality.
And who knows? I could be lying about
That's also true. And also, if people are toxic with their not respecting and honoring your boundaries, throw a white lie at them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Give them a piece of their own medicine.
It's better if it's going to keep you in alignment and you're not going to resent this person. I think it's a net positive, is what I would say.
Fair. So we just finished today, actually, Limitless by Jim Quick in Book Club. And if you go into Next Level Nation to Kevin's advice, click the link in the show notes, there is a poll at the very top. So this episode is dropping when, Kev?
This episode is dropping Sunday.
Okay, so tomorrow, Sunday, if you're listening, it's still up. It closes Monday, November...
Oh boy, so 3 days.
November 13th.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Monday, November 13th at midnight, it's closing because I want to make sure everyone has time to get their books shipped. There are 5 options. I will read you the options very, very quickly. One moment, please.
I'm voting for Harry Potter.
All right, here we go. These are the 5 options. Number 1, High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. Indistractable by Nir Eyal. Flip the Switch by Michael Burt. 0 votes.
Yeah, that ain't it.
No love. No love for
That
Michael
ain't
Burt. All right, of course, I had to throw it in there. The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumite Koga. I don't know how to pronounce those. I apologize.
It's a great book. It is a great book.
It is,
Yes.
right? Fire.
Yes.
And then Your Erroneous Zones by Wayne Dyer. That was actually the first book I ever recommended to Kev. It just talks about your...
sexual. I thought it was your erogenous zone. So I was like,
Kev's like, hey,
hell yes.
What book should I read?
Hell yes, I'm in.
I'm in. No, so it's actually your errors in thinking, but
No, not sexual.
not sexual. Right now, Brendan Burchard is winning with, I think, 50% of the vote. Wow. 50% of the votes, High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. Either way, join Next Level Nation. It will be featured at the top. We are closing the vote on Monday at midnight, the 13th.
I do believe if the goal of book club, and whether you attend or not, if it is deep talks, The Courage to be Disliked is a great one. Shout out to Jenna. I believe Jenna
Yes.
recommended that book. So
She
shout out
did.
to Jenna. I want to make sure
Yep.
she gets the credit she deserves. Okay.
Agreed.
Tomorrow, for episode number 1519, one important lesson about vulnerability. I was on, Alan, I'm sure you've had these experiences. I was on a podcast yesterday that was just like, I could stay with this person all day. It was
Nice.
amazing. It was wonderful. It was a great conversation. And she had very many kind words to say about my vulnerability. And I said, again, I've done this a long time, and many of my stories aren't vulnerable because I've said them so often and to such depth that it doesn't really bother me anymore. But there was a very important takeaway that I had from that episode that I would like to share with everyone. So we will do that tomorrow. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Honor those boundaries. Next Level Nation.